recording. So, good morning, everyone. We are lucky enough to have the amazing Peta Kelly on with us this morning, and we're going to kick right into it. So, she's joining us from Arizona over in the USA, and we've got some questions from the Facebook thread as well that we'll ask you at the end, Peta. But what I thought we'd do to begin is get a little bit more intimate with your story going from being a personal trainer. When I remember we were working together at the Beach Lifestyle Club in Cottesloe. So what you're doing now, where you created like $1 million enterprise, and also you've now gone into writing books and everything you do with Genius and things like that. So let's start at the beginning. Just maybe from personal trainer to your first partnership with Isogenics Nutritional Cleansing Company. How did that all start, and and what were the challenges, I guess, that you overcame to really go from just working with people in a gym to then having this really abundant enterprise?
Yeah. So maybe before we begin, Rory, maybe just mute. Do you want to just mute? I can hear some background noise.
Yeah, I'll do that for you. Everyone can mute.
Not you. I think it's someone else. Yeah, I think it's someone else. Yeah, it's funny because that gym I wrote about in my book recently, not the gym, but just that job. So when I was working at that gym, I was in between my honors degree and my PhD. So I already had an honors degree, like first class honors, a published paper and a thesis, a science degree at UWA, and I was getting paid not a whole lot to work at that gym. It was really because I just loved helping people. You know what it's like when you're in the health industry, you just do it. I loved helping people, and I needed something to tide me over until my PhD began. But I remember one morning going into that, and I wrote this in my book, going into that job at like 5, we used to start work at 5 a.m., which means you were there at 4:45 a.m., which means you were up at like 4. And, for considering our qualifications, we're very underpaid. We were just more doing work experience, really, And I remember one time our boss, whose name I changed in the book, said to me, it was 5 o'clock in the morning, and she looked me up and down, with a look of disgust on her face. And she was like, "Could you at least have done your hair today?" Like that. And I was like, "What are you talking about? Could I at least do my hair? I work at a gym. Do you expect me to have curls? I have a top knot because I work in a gym and it's 5 a.m. And I remember being so are you really going to talk to me like that? I just remember feeling so unappreciated, so belittled, that I left that day and I never went back. I remember just walking out. I put my shirt on a desk and I just was like, I'm not going to be spoken. I'm not going to work my ass off and then be spoken to like that, underappreciated like that. There's no way I could work like that. And I remember I vowed to myself that day I would never have a boss again. Boss meaning a boss like that. So I didn't know Isogenics was on the horizon for me. I never heard of it. Never heard of network marketing. Obviously, it wasn't going on. It's especially in Perth, it wasn't going on. And I went to,
especially in Perth.
Yeah, it just wasn't a thing. And so I went after that, which we spoke about, which was totally an independent thing. I was like, oh, it doesn't matter. I don't have to deal with any shitty bosses for now because I'm doing a PhD. So once I finish my PhD, and I'm going to have my own metabolism business, all these plans. But it was funny because looking back, that was a really important part of my journey too, because before I was even introduced to network marketing, I knew what it felt like to be really underappreciated after working so hard at school and after, getting up in the morning so early. And so I didn't want to feel, and I had worked jobs since I was 13 years old, $5 an hour at the bakery, $7 an hour slicing meat at the deli, Subway for 2 or 3 years, I did the letterbox.
Back to that.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not like you're afraid of work. It's just that why would I put my precious, precious time somewhere where it's not going to be appreciated? And I felt more appreciated at Subway, or at Brumby's, the bakery. So I started my PhD and I got about 6 months in. I wasn't feeling it. I was trying to I already done my research. I had it published. That was it for me. Yet my head was telling me that success looked like doctor in front of the name by the time I was 25. This is what I had to do. But my soul was basically saying, you don't care about having doctor in front of the name at 25. You're done. You've done your research. You've done it. Go. The PhD, although it was on your plan, is not part of my plan. So I battled a long time.
Just going to say, we just stop there just briefly because this is really important. I think a lot of people relate to the fact of being unappreciated in a job. and having big dreams and wanting to see them sort of come to fruition, but sort of, going through week by week and not really seeing that dream come any closer. And also, why do you think that we chase this, I don't know, this dream of, the job, the doctorate, the letters before the name? Why do you feel that that's a thing for us in society at the moment? Because I know that you've probably gone deep into this, but I just want to get your perspective on that, Peter.
I don't feel like it is too much anymore. I feel like it was. I feel like the last 5 years there's really been an upgrade in society's understanding of success, and I feel more and more. Perhaps just in my circles, I don't know, but people are really understanding success to be something that's on the inside. Whereas before, we didn't really get that. We thought, we weren't really ever taught to think that anything else was possible. And that's why it was so that's why I feel like when I did start network marketing and I was asking people things like, what's your ideal day? That's why I came up against so much backlash and stuff like that, because people were like, are you full of shit? You can't ask people what their ideal day is. Get with the program, get with the reality. Who do you think you are to start talking like that? Because that wasn't being presented to us by anyone. It wasn't being presented to us by all the people we respected, our teachers, our university lecturers, our parents. No one was presenting it to us. So it almost seemed like it was just pulled out of somebody's ass and presented to people. So I feel like we were just presented, we had to redefine what success meant, and that required a lot of leadership from our generation. It wasn't something that was going to be presented to us at university or given to us by an employer or told to us by our parents. So I feel like that's where the transition has happened, is in our generation saying, okay, and taking ownership of what's not going to be the same. Because for a very long time, until we become grown adults, do we just borrow success? We borrow stories, we borrow success, we borrow a paradigm. And then we get to a point where we're like, no, that's not going to work for me. But it really has to take not just one person to do it, but the whole generation sort of making it normal again. And now we look around and there's co-working spaces, people who even work at corporate, they've got work from home policies in these big companies. It's just, our standard is now, we're really making a stand for our standard. Yeah. I believe it's etched into our DNA, which is what I talk about in my book. Why millennials are how they are and what they want. That's exactly what I talk about in my book. Why is our DNA different? And that's what I speak about very specifically, is our standards are different because they're required to be different. I'm not going to go any more in it because I don't want to wrap about the book. But
no, that's okay. But it's almost like it's not woo-woo anymore to talk about your ideal day or talk about living your version of the dream, right? Because I know especially when we go back 4 or 5 years ago when Fremantle talking about that to people, there was a lot of resistance to it, almost to the point of creating a divide within the community of people saying, well, that's a load of BS, and other people going, hang on a second, this might actually be possible for me. So that was quite cool. So maybe we'll go back to your story then, and you're sort of saying, after you finished your PhD, you hadn't really been looking at this partnership with Arcegenics, but it sort of popped up, right? And so how did it show up for you, and how did you step into it, even amongst all of this, I guess, misunderstanding of network marketing, especially in Perth, and obviously, an industry that wasn't really well known. How did you step into that, Peter? And what was the key decision for you?
Yeah, so like I said, I wasn't looking for it. When I deferred my PhD, I was sort of just seeking some sort of fulfillment that I hadn't felt before, that I was missing, because I'd moved on from my honors and I was trying to find fulfillment in something that wasn't for me anymore. And that is always that. You never win by doing that. It has to end somehow. Whether you get exhausted, whether you get adrenal fatigue, whether something happens, your soul will always win at the end of the day. So when my friend introduced me to network marketing was through the products. I used the products for over a year without doing anything with them because I just didn't get it. I was building a traditional business, personal training, metabolism, an exercise physiology business. That was my plan. And I fell into network marketing quite literally by sharing the products. And it was very easy for me to share them because I loved them and I loved health. And people always ask me about health. So that was just very easy. But then it escalated quickly, right? I was just doing so well without I was trying obviously really hard, but I was doing well without being aware that I was actually really doing it. Like I was sharing the products, I was doing it, but I was like, wow, this is happening. Like, this is ISA wallet. Is that real money? Like,
Yeah.
But then, yeah. And then I started to look around and I realized, I started to look around and it was just like, again, it sounds woo-woo, but it was just the job I was given. You need to make this real for your generation. You need to let them know that there's an alternative. And I just felt like that was my job. That was my purpose. I was anointed. I go for it. That's what I felt like I was there to do. I was there to discover it, figure it out, and translate the vision of what this could do into a way that made sense to our generation, not just because no one previously was talking about the vision and what it could look like for our life. Everyone was just talking about network marketing. There was no one casting this vision. So that's what I went to work to do, because I knew that if I was feeling like I was feeling in my PhD, there was obviously, so many other people feeling like that. So I just went to work to create it, and I just knew. As I started to build success for myself and I started to feel what it felt like to take control and to have freedom to create things and give to things and fulfill my dream, like, retiring my mom, I just grew confident that I suppose I had to be confident in it before it was a reality for anyone. I had to be confident in what I saw before anybody saw it, because that's the sort of, to be honest, that's the strength it took to take it from a crazy idea to something people really believed.
Yeah, so let's capture those two things. So the first thing you said that was really important was you cast the vision, because this is huge, right? Because network marketing, we understand that it's basically a partnered enterprise where someone's already created the product, someone's already set the vision, the company's already got its culture and values, and we are essentially choosing to partner with the company that aligns with who we are. And, to make this, I guess, this Zoom more applicable to anyone that watches it, obviously there's a lot of amazing companies out there. And for whatever reason, we've been attracted to Isogenics and their vision and mission. But what I'd love to really sit with is, when you cast the vision, what was the turning point? What was the thing that actually helped you do that? Because a lot of people have asked that question actually in BFree and in our sort of in our pages, but they're sort of saying, how did you get to the point where you cast a vision that other people can roll in? And what process? Did you read a book? Did you do self-development? What was the process for you to be like, shit, let's stop talking about the recipe and actually start sharing the cake with anyone, start sharing the bigger vision?
Mm-hmm. It probably was when I won a trip. So I won an ISA Derby trip to Hawaii, 2013, January 2013. And I was in Hawaii and I was being paid my residual income around then was about $500 a week, which was big for me. It was really big for me. It's big for anyone. If people really understand residual income, $500 a week residual, it's just amazing. But I was, and I was on the beach and I remember just having this epiphany, like, well, I can be getting paid here and working here. And it's always work. It's not a retirement. We're always just switching professions, but I always working. I was like, but I'm working from here. Like, why is no one talking about that we could do this? So I feel like in Hawaii, that was when I realized I had to cast that vision. Like, what could life be like if you really went ahead and did this? Like, what could life be like? It then followed a lot of personal development, because in order to how old was I back then? 24. In order to take that from something I knew to something I could communicate and lead a team and stand very strong. And obviously a lot of personal development. I listened to Bill Nightingale, The Stranger's Secret, over 200 times in my car. I went to money mindset seminars. I went to David Wood.
You gave me that CD.
I gave it to everyone. Most people didn't even open it. Gave it to my family. They didn't even want it. Like, it just, I was like obsessed with personal development. I was mentored by David Wood for a while. I went to his island. I just dove in. I went to UAA probably 4 times. Just nonstop growth, because it was like I had this vision and I needed to match it. And I needed to be the person who, when everybody else was unsure, I was never unsure. I was always sure. Yes. And that's always what it was. I was never one of those. I was never a flake about it. And that's what most people are. They're flakes when it comes to this. They're in only when it's received well. They're in only when things are going really well in their life. They're in only sometimes, and it's very flaky. And that's not the sort of leadership that builds a large organization and a solid organization. It's being really true to the vision, and it's being true to the vision, even when a lot of the world don't get it yet and are ridiculing you for it. Because soon enough, we know people start to accept it. But first, you got to go through that tension and that resistance. And I suppose I was just willing to go through it because I knew what it would do for people, and I knew that that was just what I was there to do. I didn't think about it too much. I just did it. I didn't overthink it. I didn't spend all this time thinking. I just did it. And there was no time at all when I was like, should I stop? Or, it was just consistency and strength and sureness and certainty. And that's really what I find the difference is with a lot of people. It's just people aren't owning this experience. Then they're in and out, in and out, in and out. And you can't energetically attract
anything from that space.
No, you can't.
So why do you think people do that? Like, is it because I look at it, right, and we've got people in our community that have been there 3 or 4 years, and me included, right, and I've probably realistically in the last maybe 2 years really owned network marketing, and even then, by no standard am I an expert at it, but I love health, I love helping people, I love seeing other people succeed, and that's just where my heart goes with it. So I'm a learning leader, and I'm figuring it out as I go, and I'm sure everyone else can relate to that. So early days, you got a lot of tension and resistance. And I know a lot of people who are listening to this are probably feeling the same. They're getting tension and resistance from their family, from their friends. It's quite interesting because my friends are actually starting a traditional business and the whole community is getting around it. I started a network marketing business, and straight away there's this tension and resistance. It's something that I've never seen or felt before, right? So maybe something from your own experience just to make this really human, Peter, because I know some ins and outs, like your ex-boyfriend at the time was giving you a bit of hassle, and family didn't really well understand it. Your brother Ben was probably your biggest skeptic, but he's now your biggest supporter. So just to make it real human for everyone on here, what was some real deep sort of emotional resistance that you were getting early on, and how did you work through that? Like, I know you said you committed to it and you made a stand for something, but how did you actually get through the day-to-day stuff?
I mean, it always hurts. There's no doubt about that. It's not like it didn't hurt. It's not like I was not human during it. It's just, I just didn't focus on it. I couldn't. It hurt a lot of times. There was a lot of tears. There was times still sitting in the police station, because I was being stalked. It was intense. There's a lot of stuff like that. But there was times when I had big blow-ups with my sister. She didn't get it until she came to an event. Real tension in our household for a little while. I had a lot of friends, really close friends, not understand, you just in it for the money, all that sort of stuff, post Facebook statuses about me, without even saying anything to me. Just post a straight up Facebook status about me. And then a feeding frenzy followed of all these people who were my friends and who I'd actually helped get on Isogenics, but they just fed on it and just ripped into me, like things that no one would have said to my face, but they just loved having something to take the piss out of, and that was just me. I had friends say stuff like, I remember one friend saying, hey, they want to interview you on Today Tonight, and I always said no to all that shit. They asked me all the time, and then she said that so that she could then say, oh no, I'm just kidding, they only want real entrepreneurs to be interviewed. So just stabs like that. I had people take photos of my family, like get pretty scary in terms of cybercrime. It got pretty intense for a while there. And most people never have to go through that. And I'm just like, whatever, it's that phase is done and it's over. There's always going to be people who don't get it, but it's just, so it got to a point there where I had to really protect myself, and I had to be like, well, but it never got to the point where I had to stop or anything like that. But that's something that a lot of people don't know. That there was people who were really committed to trying to make life hard for me, trying to hack my shit and trying to blow up my emails and try and just that sort of stuff. But it blew over. They can have their time and do their thing, but it blew over. But this is the thing: a lot of people in network marketing are acting as if it's that bad for them, and it's not. And I didn't even talk about it as if it's that bad. I rarely talk about it because there's too much other shit to talk about and focus on. Like, like, yeah, I'll be honest about it and I'll share about what it was really like, because I want people to know what commitment to your vision looks like, and I want to share the humanity of it. But a lot of people are acting like it's the end of the world because they have a few people disagreeing with them. And I'm just like, stop it. Like, just change your focus. Stop being such a victim and go to work for what you care about, because those people are probably just responding to your uncertainty. And they're probably just concerned for you because you're so uncertain and you're so on the fence, and they're just responding to your energy. And when you become really certain, people start responding to that. And that's what happened with me. When I became certain and people noticed 3-4 years down the track, I was still doing it. I didn't care if people laughed at how positive I was or whatever. Then they just sort of fell back. You know, they were like, well, what do we have to take the piss out of anymore? Like, we've taken the piss out of her. We've thrown the bullets at her, and she's still doing it. Like, how much fun is this going to be forever? And then you just start to earn respect slowly. Like, I reckon all the people who were bullying me back in the day, they probably don't like me. I don't care. It's fine. But a lot of them probably respect me now. A lot of them probably don't. But you know what? But I don't care. I just don't care, because it's just it's too important. And it's just does it sting when you see stuff we read about? Yeah, absolutely. But how long can we stare at it and look at it and focus on it when we have a life to create? You know what I mean? And that doesn't mean you ignore it and you act like it doesn't hurt. I always tell people, oh, it stings. It really stings. But I don't notice that much anymore, because I just have taught myself to shift my focus, to let it sting when it happens, because it still happens, let it sting, and then decide, great, this is what happens when you step into a bold message. It happens to everyone. This is why, but we have the potential. Like, we have so much potential to still protect ourselves and protect our energy. And whether it's social media, block, delete, like whatever, like this is real life. In here is real life. Everything else is, you can protect yourself.
The beautiful thing there, you said the thing that got you through this was a commitment to a vision, commitment to something bigger than yourself. And again, I'm sure everyone can relate to this in their own sort of sense. Like, whether they're trying to be a professional athlete or something like that, you're gonna get resistance. You're gonna get tension. You're gonna have those hard times. You have people that don't believe in you, and you've got to believe in yourself above all else. And then you got to choose what you focus on, right? And then the big thing I love that you talk about, PK, is you talk about recirculating the energy, and it's like, we're always like, it's almost. People think that it's abnormal to feel down, or it's abnormal to feel stuff. And I guess, we see this show up in mental health issues in blokes and everyone else, but it's normal to feel shit. It's normal to feel, to question yourself. It's normal to feel a little bit down. It's just really how long we stay there and what we focus
exactly.
on, right?
Exactly. So, everybody is going to, but some people just focus on it too much. I always think if we really expect that everything we do in our life is going to be clapped and applauded all the time, it's just, we're deluded. And who even wants that? Like, we just have to understand that everybody is allowed to have their opinion. And if we just absorb everyone's opinions, you're not going to do anything in your life. Like, let people have their opinion. Like, I appreciate other people's opinions. Have them, go for it. Like, whatever you believe is what you believe. That's fine. But I don't have time or energy to analyze your opinion, wish you would change your opinion. I can only choose for me. I can only choose where my energy goes. I can only choose what I do. I can only choose where I focus, where I look on Facebook, where I don't look on Facebook. Like, there was one of those hate pages made up years ago. I don't even know if they use it. I just never looked at it. I was like, I just don't have energy for that. And I think we have to shift the conversation, like, because people start to expect they're going to get haters and all this stuff. You're not going to get it if your energy is strong. Like, just don't focus on that. Like, that's old news. Like, that's old news, right? Like, I don't ever do anything with the expectation I'm going to get haters. Like, I create from my heart and alignment with me. And if there's people who have their opinions, that's great. This is a free willed universe. But I'm going to do my thing with my alignment and my intention. So I think people need to stop this story in network marketing of how do you deal with haters? What do you do about haters? It's like, get over it. Like, what about all the lovers? What about all the people you're supporting? What about other people you're helping? What about your team? What about, like, why not focus there? Because if you're just expecting haters, like, that's an old story. That's why when I even talk about it, I'm like, that song has been sung. Like, let's get over it now. Like, people respect network marketing, and you can't argue with people when their energy is clear. People are only going to argue with you and do all this stuff if your energy is not clear. So get clear,
Yep.
Get strong. Stop.
Make a decision.
Stop buying other people's opinions. Let them have their opinions, and just like appreciate them, love them, you respect them, but don't.
Yeah.
People can only project their stuff onto you if you let them. That's what I've really learned. And I like to think that now, after all that stuff, like 3 or 4 years ago, that we've evolved beyond that as a team and in network marketing, and in Australia, we've evolved beyond that. You know, like that. All good. That's not the story anymore. The story is this isn't like it's just not the story anymore. So I would like to think people aren't really talking in terms of that as the focus, because it's not. Helping people is the focus. Building a life you love is the focus. Supporting people is the focus. Being a part of an enterprise which is becoming more conscious and sustainable by the day is the focus. Like, let's focus on that, and like not go back to these old stories that are like so 2014, you know? Like so 2018.
Let's shift the energy from that, because I think you're spot on. Like, and that conversation has been had. And the thing is, the only reason I bring that up is just to make it human, so that people can get some perspective about what you went through and what you had to stand for to overcome that. Because this is a thing that I see, and something that, you know, I've seen in myself. And probably the point where you really attracted me to your space was when I think you were in Hawaii and you put up a post and you really stood for what you believed in, and you made it so much about me that I engaged in the post. And I was like, shit, I could maybe live like a lifestyle like what this chick's doing, you know what I mean? Yeah. And it became possible for me. And I remember sitting on my computer in the clinic, and I was pissed off. And actually, to be completely honest, like when I see people, I was in that much of a low frequency that when I saw people post stuff like that, it pissed me off, because I wasn't able to do it. I didn't think that I was able to do it. So you gave, by shifting the story and standing in what you believed in, and really committing to that vision, and then learning to communicate that vision, I think that was the point where you started to really attract a lot of people. So I think that's such a really cool point. Let's shift the story from what we were talking about before to now focusing on that going forwards. And I guess the next step would then be to go, well, you made that decision. Then how did you create this $1 million enterprise? Like, how did you go from a commitment to a vision to actually making this thing happen?
I just worked really hard, and I don't make any, I didn't try and cover it up. I worked really hard, but it never, it got to a point where I would work too hard, but I just had goals, and I just went to work on them. And I always used to get bothered when people like in network marketing who told me they had all these big goals were like, do you want to go to the cafe today? And I was like, what the fuck do you mean go to a cafe? Like, aren't you working? Like, I was like laser focused, and I didn't understand why all these people had so much time off and they had these goals. I was like, you still got to work in this, right? Like, this is we're not retired. Like, guys, we're 20 something. Like, can you guys still hear me? Because Rory's dropped off.
No, I'm here.
Okay. But you know what I mean? Like, I didn't feel like I was at all retired or, working for myself. I didn't feel that. I felt like I was working for a vision. I was working for something bigger. I was working for a team. I was working for my goals. I just had a great work ethic, and I worked and I worked and I worked. And I think that's what some people, they say I'm retired, or, I work for myself now. And then people don't know how to work for themselves. They don't. I would have stopped. I would have stopped working at $1,000 a week if I was working for myself, because why would myself need to work until $1 million and beyond? Like, no, you're working for something bigger than yourself. And you got to be disciplined, so I suppose it was working, and it was casting a vision, and never letting anything just get in between that. I worked every day. I cast a vision every day, and I keep going and keep going and I keep going. Mm-hmm.
So simple. And I guess, that's, and literally it was just time after that, because once you got so clear on that, it was just a matter of the amount of people you served and helped. And then it got to a point, I guess, with a network enterprise, which is different to traditional business, is you then go to work helping other people do the same. And that's, that's where, I guess you talk about, you actually were able to retire your mum. And it's not that your mum wanted to be retired, but you just wanted to give her that freedom and time to say thank you for all the hard work she put in for you. And I know I could relate to that. And also your brother now has a new level of freedom. I know I do, because of you going first, and I'm sure a lot of other people do as well. So probably the next thing, Peter, well, first of all, thank you for going first, and thank you for being there.
Thank you.
Person. But what is this like to give people ideas the next step as well? So you've obviously gone from Peter Kelly, the personal trainer, uninspired, just being, going for the degree and things like that, to then, creating this enterprise, this movement that has really inspired a lot of people, to now, I guess, writing a book and doing everything you're doing with Genius. And just give us a bit of an insight of what is actually possible for people from here. And then I'll go to some questions after that, if that's okay.
Yeah. Well, my story is a bit different because I got married to Eric. So my role had to change in the company, which isn't anything anyone else will have to experience, right? So if I hadn't gotten married to Eric, my story would be very different now. But I got married to Eric. And so my role within the company just shifted. It doesn't mean I just stopped supporting my organization, but I had to essentially figure out my role in terms of the bigger vision. And that's what I found my role is very much being a voice for the earth and sustainability and plant-based products, and always sticking up for Australia and New Zealand when it comes to product launches. Like, my role is very much a behind the scenes role. And so that's really a unique part of my story that is not really going to happen to anybody else in Isogenics, I hope, right?
Well, I can't marry Eric.
Yeah, I'm going to have a polygamous relationship, and we have a couple of people in the field, but it's not going to happen. So that was a very unique part to my story. And it was, it's a long conversation, but there was a couple of years there where I was really trying to figure out, where do I fit? And I had a lot of tugs on my heart. I wanted to create. I didn't want to earn more money. And that sounds funny. Everyone's like, well, what's your goal? When are you going to hit 12 zero? And I was like, hello, Angel. My baby, she's just walking past with my mum. She always walks past when I'm on calls. It's like so hard not to describe her. She's like, she's so cute. But so everybody's like, when are you going to hit this? I was like, I'm not interested. Like, the pursuit for more wasn't in alignment with me. I wanted to generate more with what I had. I wanted to invest in my generation. So I built programs, I built events, and I invested in them, not as all profit building activities, as investments in what I cared about. I started angel gifting. So like gifting to companies, movements, just angel gifting. I love to do that. I started just generating more in the direction of what I believed with what I had created for myself. And that was really important to me. So I honored my soul callings, because that's what network marketing is about. It's about allowing you the resources to do what you're called to do continuously. So I started to build all this other stuff, which was just as much as my journey as network marketing does. There was people outside of network marketing who I wanted to serve too. So it allowed me to build events, very great events that no corners cut in the cost. And I was able to really pull out of my own pocket for that, pull out of my own pocket for every program I ever created.
True abundance,
without taking still to this day, without taking anything from it. It was very much, and write my book without, I self-published my book so it could be on recycled paper, and I didn't have to change a single word in it because I self-published it. Just all these things that I wanted to do, have the freedom. My thing is I love to create and just keep creating for my people. And that's what network marketing has really allowed me to do, is the freedom to keep creating and giving and creating and giving and surprising people and doing what's in alignment with my heart. That's really our purpose. The purpose isn't a what, it's a how do we want to live. So now I get to live how I want to live, by giving and creating. And now I created the Earth Code, which is is in collaboration with Isogenics too, because it's, again, that was something that tapped me on the shoulder. I could go forth and create it. And I partnered with Isogenics because we're going to create some cool stuff with Isogenics. But again, it's like this full creative freedom. And now again, I'm working with, I'm doing lots of stuff outside of Isogenics, but with Isogenics, it's like my purpose here is to raise the vibration of on Earth. And it sounds woo-woo, but it's what it is. And to be a voice for Mother Earth. So I have a whole bunch of different things going on that allow me to do that. The book, how I decorate my home, the flowers sitting here, doing calls like this, being with my daughter. I'm about to build something else, another collaboration, Earth Genius. Like, just get to do that. But in terms of Isogenics, I'm really excited about is sustainability, which is just coming like wildfire, creating new stuff with Earth. And I see Sarah on there, who's been fucking amazing with being my focus group for getting it going. She's just Earth through and through. But there's so much more stuff coming too, right? Within Isogenics, to let the world know how much Isogenics is a stand for the Earth. And that's my role in Isogenics now. 100% I found my role now. It's not to be Kathy Coover like lots of people thought, but but that's where Isagenix is going. So I'm really excited and feeling really in alignment with where Isagenix is, while also having the freedom to honor my mission on earth in all its different avenues, Isagenix being one of them.
Yeah, no, that's epic, Peta. And I think that's so cool. Your story is amazing because I think a lot of people can just take pieces of it and relate it to their own journey and where they're at. And, and that's the thing we want to do, is we want to give permission to people to run their own race at their own pace. You don't have to be Peter Kelly. You don't have to be Kathy Kuby. You don't have to be me. You don't have to be anyone else, right? They just got to do it for themselves and do it in their own way. And I guess this is where we can probably kick into a couple of key questions from the group. So
yeah, I've got Mandy's. Should I just answer it?
Yeah, go for Mandy's. Yep. And then I've got some on the page. So Mandy.
So when I started, it was products, because I was a scientist. I started talking about products for a long time first. And that was great, but I was first building a business of product users, which amazing because customers are like everything, but it was moving very slowly. And because I don't like using this term, but it's a lot of people's excuse, because I was on the inside of the inside of the inside of the inside of the inside leg, and there was no president's pack. I was literally enrolling 9 people to cycle one time. So that's why when people are like, oh, my business is moving slow, I was like, your business is moving slow? My business was moving really slow. And I was enrolling a lot of people, right? I mean, 6 months after I decided, I was consultant in August 2012. And by January 2012, I was 1 star. That was 6 months. It was five or 6 months to get to 1 star, right? That wasn't very fast. It was from 1 star to 7 star that went really fast in a year, because I just went for it. And I started to cast the vision. And then it went about the vision. It was, this is the vision, and this is its components: health and financial freedom. We need both to have freedom in our lives. And this is what life could be like. And I was very, very clear on who I was there to serve. I was there to serve Gen Y. I didn't stray from that, because because that's who I really cared about. And for me to speak like I spoke, I had to have a passion and fire in my heart. So everybody was like, well, what about this generation? I was like, I love them, but they're not who I'm here to serve. Of course I enrolled people who were older. My mom, I enrolled tons of people who were older, but I was laser focused on what do I really care about? And I cared about letting Gen Y know that there was another way. So I didn't stray from that. So it was the accuracy of my vision and what I was telling people was possible, and then living it. And with fire, just a fire.
Yeah.
And then of course you meet different people. I met athletes who wanted to talk about the health. I met them where they were at. I obviously didn't sit down with an athlete who wanted to sign up for the products and blast them about the vision, right? But in general, my message was about the vision. But you always meet people where they're at. Some people will come to you and they just want the products. Enroll them on the products. That's what we do. It's the health and wellness company, right? It's products. But I never didn't share the opportunity, because why not? I mean, why not? And the vision. But I enrolled a lot of people too. That's the thing, is that a lot of people are like, well, I haven't enrolled any business builders. Well, have you enrolled 400 people yet? Because I enrolled more than that. And that's why I'm like, I enrolled 400 people to get my business builders: Rory, Anna Morgan, my brother, Marion Jacob, Marion Danny, Kezian Tin, Victoria and Elena. I rolled over 400 people, way more than that, to find those.
Only a small portion of us really got it, right?
Yeah.
And even then, there were times where we didn't believe in it, but you held that space for us, and we had the confidence to keep going.
Yeah. And you're going to have a lot of product users. That's amazing. Have customers. That's what this is about. But 100%. Don't stinge on your vision for wanting to have incredible business builders. Go for that too, because you want to have both. If you really care about the customer, you want to have more people in your organization who are serving the customer. So I always encourage people to write the script, write in the script. Who do you want? What does your ideal business partner look like? I walked someone through it the other day. I said, write it down, write out. I'm attracting so many incredible business builders. They are going through Isagenix business on their own. They've already bought their celebration ticket. This is how it's meant to feel. They're enrolling, we're doing launch parties together. Write it out. What do your partnerships feel like? Who are your people? Get specific about it. Own who you want. I was so clear on who I got, and look at who I got. Rory, Anna and Morgan, Ben, Mary and Jacob. Like there's very specific group of people, right? Mara, like it's to get clear on who you want and own who you want and own the fact that you want to have some great business builders. Don't feel bad like, oh, I should just be talking about the product. If you have great business builders, you're going to reach more people with these products. And that's essentially the ultimate point, is you reach people with our two products, the products and the compensation plan. They're our products. They're both just as important as each other, right? And we've got to make sure that we don't stinge on that.
No, that's perfect.
And the community is the third product.
Yeah, which is almost more valuable, isn't it? In a weird and wonderful way.
Yeah. It's the most important of all.
And culture, yeah. And okay, so we got Rachel. She said, well, why did you choose, like the why question, why did you actually choose to align with Isagenix and why did you stay?
I chose to align with Isagenix back then because it was an alignment with where I was, right? I wasn't vegan back then, but I was very much into health and I was scientist. So the science-based evidence really spoke to me and how I felt my body really spoke to me. The compensation plan was incredible. I started to see how it changed my life. Like the evidence was everywhere in my life for this alignment. It felt really good to me. I always felt supported by corporate all the time. I always felt cheered on, supported. Anything that I needed, I was there. I went to a big event in 2012 in Arizona and I saw the scientific advisory board. I saw like the depths of the company, right? I went to the head office. I saw the depths of it and I knew the heart of it. And I obviously wasn't with Eric then. I got introduced to him at that time and I was like, I think he had a girlfriend. I don't even know.
Oh man, I remember that. That was so fun.
Know. Isn't it so lucky that I was not a fangirl? How awkward would that be now? God.
Yeah.
But then I learned like the depths of the company and I realized what was at the core of this company was Eric's parents. And I could feel them in my heart and I could feel the integrity of this company. I could just really feel it. So over time, my values changed and I became really passionate about the earth and really passionate about being vegan, even though I don't think everybody needs to be vegan. It was just, so that's where fate would have it. I had a role where I could influence the release of products and now the packaging changing to be sustainable packaging and all these things that are now changing. So the reason I stayed was because firstly, because look what I did for my life. Why would I ever leave this company that gave me and my family a new life? Like this, I mean, I would never have enough words to thank this company for what it's done for me. Everything it's taught me, everything it's given me and my family, like there just will never be enough gratitude for me to show this company ever. But why do I stay really aligned with it and publicly aligned with this company? Because I know the heart of this company and because I'm in a position to influence it. And I influence on behalf of the earth, which is why we have the Earth Fest, and which is why, again, and my husband, Eric, is really passionate about sustainability. They just hired a new sustainability intern. The whole company is really on board. They get it, right? They get it. And I feel like my passion is the earth and conscious enterprise, and what better way to partner with one who really gives a shit about our earth and is always open to how better they can influence our earth. Evolve consciously, which they are. I'm always in meetings, and it's not even like I'm always bringing it. It's that they get it and they want it. And I mean, Eric's parents, you can't get to any more conscious leaders than them. You just can't. So I get to see behind the scenes the integrity of this company all the time. Dr. Bob, who's formulating our products, he's like a wizard. He's like a monk scientist. So I get to see all this stuff, I suppose, and that's why I always like get on these calls just to share it. But because I know the heart of this company, I love that it's totally open, and I feel like I'm in a unique position to take what our tribe is requesting. And I know the companies do whatever they can to serve us, but to serve the earth and really be a legacy company, like on behalf of the earth, but also to serve the community. That's why Earth Fest is an open group for other women, because Isagenix is like, we give a shit about the world, right? I want to influence the world. I want to support women. Like, a lot of women are going to join Isagenix from that. Great. But the ones who don't, we want to support them too. So I know what's at the heart of Isagenix, and like I said, there's certain things. I don't give a shit about the AMPS products. It's not for me. I don't work out hard enough to have them. I don't have whey, obviously. So there's like, but the parts of me that do align is more than that.
You focus on that, yeah. And that's the
and
whole
the
point.
opportunity to. Sorry, go ahead.
It's all choice. Like it's
yeah.
Companies just gone no compromise with everything they do, right? And obviously evolving and adapting, which is quite cool. So that sort of answers the question about why did you align and why did you stay? Yeah. We've come up to about 50 minutes now, so I'll just take 2 more questions and then we'll let people sort of open up the lines as well. But there's a question from Ria saying retiring your mum was a huge goal, one that many of us can relate to, wanting to retire a spouse, a family member. Can you please share what was the key in making this actually happen?
It was, again, it comes down to how much are people working. I think if people really looked at their work day, they got to get really honest with themselves. Like, how much am I working? Am I working as a part-time entrepreneur before I've got my results? Because I didn't. I worked more than full-time. And I know I didn't have a child back then, but even now, I mean, even now with a child, I still work full-time and I'm full-time at home with my child. I just don't let anything get in the way of my goals, and just period. So I think I like to take a look at people's schedule and I'm like, how much are you working? Like, show me how much you're really working, like really contacting people, really connecting, really enrolling. Like, how much are you really working? Some people are just getting on calls and scrolling Facebook and they think that that's working, and it's not. Some people are overtrained, over-mentored, and just over-social media'd, and it's not working. So I think people need to take a real honest check-in. Is my action matching my goals? I needed big action to retire my mum, and that's what I gave, big action. And that's what people just got to get honest, you know. And I'm not trying to kick anyone's ass. I'm just saying it how it was for me. I just didn't slack off. And I'm not saying like my situation's the same as everyone. I know I was single. I know I was childless. I know I could just go for it. But everybody, it's all relative, right? And I was owning the fact that I had big goals in a short amount of time. I needed to do more than most people were willing to do in a short amount of time. And the bottom line is the opportunity now is better than it was when I started. There was no President's Pack. There was no double PIPs. There was no e-shots. There was like, I was building on a body balance program with 109 BV, right? It was grinding, right? It was like hustle. But that's what I think people just got to take a check in. Like, if whatever your current results are, your current income, whatever your current results are, your current action is generating that. If you want a greater results, you need greater, smarter, more robust, powerful action. And it's also energy. The script, everybody needs to have a script, 100%. If not, get one. I spoke about it in the Rise Up group, in the Isogenics Business Rise Up group. There's a full training on it there, but everybody needs to have a script. Your energy needs to be matching your action. But again, I think it comes down to action, enrolling. Like, a lot of people are counting their action mostly on like just conversations, but you need to be looking at your results. How many enrollments are you getting? If you're not, I don't like using this closing, following up. I could never train on closing and following up. I just don't have a clue. It's just connecting, but have a look at where do you need to improve, because and I'm not talking like in a masculine way. I'm just talking about a get real with your goals way. It's a lot of people who don't have big goals and they just want to chill in this business and weave it into their life. Amazing. That's why we created Earthest. So there could be a softer approach to network marketing. But for those who were like, it's urgent for me to retire my mum. That was me. I had to bring a lot of masculine energy into my business. I had to. And then I could soften a little bit, obviously, after that. But it takes work. It really does. But there's nothing more worth it than putting work into this. There really isn't. If you think about what this will do long term, I was happy to go to work. I was really, really happy to go to work, especially because people's lives were being changed. And that sounds so cliche, but it's like, it wasn't purposeless work. It was so meaningful, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And the stories are, the proof of concept is there. And this is something really interesting, because like if people like realistically get beyond being their first customer. That's like, I know customers not sometimes, but we
Yeah.
use that. But you got to be your first customer. You got to be, you got to stand what you believe in, right? And then I guess you got to find 10 people, share it with them, and prove that you can actually run a network enterprise. But then beyond that, like, you want to get to the point where you serve 100, you serve 200, you talked about serving 400 to find that 20 people that actually decided they wanted to run a business with you and believed in your vision. And, if we can't, like, I just see it so clearly now, if we can't run this business, then we can't run any business. The product's done for us. The vision is done for us. The events are done for us. Everything is done for us. Like, literally all we need to do is self-develop, get over our own bullshit, help people, serve people, help them do the same, and just rinse and repeat, right? And then the compensation just happens to pay us in a really abundant way. We don't have to worry about banking. All we have to worry about is our tax and our BAS and all that other stuff. But realistically, like, if we can't run this business, then we can't run any business, right? Is that what you feel?
Traditional business is tough. I did it the other way. So I went from network marketing, and then I started creating traditional businesses just because I had to set up my events and stuff. And I was just like, people every day, I was just like, really? Like, I mean, I worked my ass off to produce my events and my programs and everything as gifts, and didn't even take a profit. When I worked that hard in network marketing, I built a 7-figure residual income. Like, really? Like, this is what I mean, is people.
Huge point.
I think what people forget, and I think that where people get hung up, is not being able to manage their own time and be accountable to their own goals. They want a boss. You know what I mean? They want a boss. And it's almost like if your goals aren't inspiring enough to you that they're like a really good boss, you need better goals. You've got to be the most loyal employee to your vision. And if your vision isn't firing you up, it's not your real vision. Get a better one. Like, dig deep. What are you really doing this for? And again, if you're not really feeling that hot, if you just love the community and culture and love being around it, that's amazing too. But just get in alignment. Like, do you have big goals or do you not? Because it's okay to not have big goals and to just want to be around this culture. I get it. Amazing. But just got to be honest about what you want. Like, it's I got to a point in Isogenics where I didn't have any more big goals. I told you I wanted to start generating and stuff like that. But when I did have big goals, nothing could stop me. And that's what I want people to really get is you're not working for yourself here. You're working for your why, your vision, your family, whatever it is. And if you really are aligned with that, it's a more powerful boss than you'll ever have in human form,
Yeah. And I think it keeps on coming back to that. It keeps on coming back to vision. It keeps on coming back to action. It keeps on coming back to that alignment piece, right? So we'll just ask one more question, PK, and then we'll let you go enjoy the rest of your morning. But what I'll do is I'll choose. Sorry, that's right, Arizona. Sorry, our morning. So what campaigns did you run that you found were successful, like, in terms of, when you really went from like action to traction to then creating this attraction? What were the campaigns that you really kicked off with? Campaigns, whatever word you want to use there, but what were the promotions? What were the things that you were like, all right, I'm going to put this out to the world and it's going to, attract some really cool humans? How did you kick it off?
Firstly, Wellness Wednesday, in-person events, I think is just key. And I think people have stopped doing them because everybody's waiting for someone else to do them. Like, everyone's like, can you come back and do Wellness Wednesday? I'm like, shut up. Like, you do a Wellness Wednesday, please. Like, stop it. But I mean it with love. I'm like, I'm not coming to do your Wellness Wednesday for you. Like, come on, get your shit together. But like, I mean, I say it with complete love. I'm like, you're shitting me. Like, come on, guys. Like, this is your life. Like, this is your team and your vision. Like, you have access to town halls. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be fancy. Wellness Wednesday was not fancy. You just need a fire and a commitment and who do you want to serve, and just begin.
Consistency, right? Because you were there every week for like how long? Like nearly 2 years.
Over 2 years, yeah. And so it's like, get clear on your team and do like sprints together. Do stuff together. I think that was the key to our team, is doing things together. Like we did everything together. We rank events together. We celebrated together. We planned together. We strategized together. Everything was together. Everything. And that was huge. So I think that's really important. We, going to events together, just making everything really about team was just really key. So I think in-person events, doing everything together, and really intentional business growth together. There's so many great things now with seasonal shakes. You have, Mum, turn the stove down. It's clicking. My mum doesn't know how to work our stove. Mum, it's clicking. Mum, the gas is on.
So say hi to your mum for me as well.
Just got my like baby over there with the gas on. I'm just
Wigging out.
so funny. But yeah, like just firstly, in-person events, whether if you really don't want to start an in-person event, don't. Like, do you know what I mean? Not everyone's meant to, but launch parties or even just one-on-ones. Like when I'm saying tell people to do belly-to-belly events is the people who say they want one but want someone else to do it for them. I'm like, stop. Like, this is why your business isn't moving, because you're waiting for the company to start something.
Yeah.
You're waiting for your upline to start something, and it has to stop. Your business, this is what Jim says all the time. You don't get paid on your upline. Stop worrying about your upline. You get paid purely on your downline. Your business is you and your downline. It has nothing to do with your upline. And that's where people just spend too much energy on looking up. And it's like, look up for support and whatever you need, but your business is not built up. You're paid on your downline. And that's why I think people are waiting. I'm going to wait for my upline to do it. I'm going to wait for the company to do it. No, go for it. Like, just go for it. Whatever it looks like for you. If it's not like, I know some people don't want to speak. I get it. One-on-ones or small events or like boot camps or whatever you want to do. Whatever feels good for you. Never, ever. Belly to belly was huge for us. Intentionally business building, strategizing, and supporting each other as a team was really big for us. But we didn't have things like seasonal shakes or anything like that. That's really big now too. So really building around that. I think what's really good is product campaigns. So like for your whole team to be like, hey, this month is e-shot. Like, let's all get extra e-shots and sample them. And next month it's Isodelight. Let's all get extra Isodelight and sample them. Like doing specific product campaigns like that. Things like the 16-week body challenges. That's great if that's for you. Again, go with it. I could go on and on, but there are a few that I think you just got to get creative. Within compliance, just get creative and don't wait for permission to get creative. Like, as long as it's compliant, go for it. But just don't worry. If no one else is doing it, just go for it. Like, I think that's the thing that people are just waiting too much for corporate to start it. Corporate loves creative people, but it's compliant, you know.
Spot on. And I think we'll finish at this point because it's all about team and collaboration. Yeah. And something that I know our team has just come into is this concept of like team genius. You know, like not everyone wants to get on stage. Not everyone wants to be a star, but they're awesome at back office or they're introverted and they're amazing at systems, you know. So what we're starting to see really evolve in the group is people really sitting in their strengths and leveraging each other, you know, leveraging the community. Like we've learned how to partner with a business and a product and an enterprise, but we've tried to do a lot of it ourselves, and I think it's for either one or two reasons. One, because we're too scared for ask for help, or we don't think we're worthy, or two, because we're unconsciously incompetent, where we think that we just have to be a low wolf and do this ourselves, right? So
but that's an amazing way to do it. It's partner up. Like, if you don't like doing launch parties, you do the banner for launch parties. Have someone else speak at it. You cut up the products, whatever it is, but just go for it. Like, and just know that I don't want people to think like that this is, no, I don't want people to think, there's nothing difficult about this business. There isn't. What's difficult is people managing their time and staying committed. There's nothing difficult about this business at all. And I want people to really get that. You know, when people say there's never been a better time in Isogenics, we can still say that, but there'll come a point where we won't be able to say that anymore. And that will be true saturation. But right now, there's still never been a better time in Isogenics right now. We still have billions of people to touch.
European launch, how big's that?
Exactly. The goal of the company is to be the biggest but most respected and trusted health and wellness company in the world. So if that's the goal of the company, then why are people... Oh, that's so cute. Hi, Fancoat family. So sweet. But do you know what I mean? Like, we can still say this is the most exciting time ever in Isogenics. Absolutely. Yeah. The company is growing like this so steadily after 15 years. That doesn't happen. But there will come a time where you're gonna go down your street and everybody is gonna be involved in Isogenics in some way. And that's why I always encourage people, like, don't, like, your goals, don't, like, just stop thinking that just take this and run with it. Just go for it. Like, whatever it is you want for your life, just go now and get it. Don't wait for anyone else to rank advance. Don't worry if your upline's not rank advancing. It doesn't matter. Just go and know the company is cheering you on, and know the company's there to support you. If you need to corporate to look at your business and help you out, call them. They will. Like if you need corporate to do anything, like if you're having a big event and you want corporate to send you products for it, they'll do that. That's what you got to just lean on them. But they're going to support you if you're being creative and in action. They will help you. So use corporate, use everybody, get creative, and just really go for it. Just
do it together as well.
Go for it. Like just go for it. And, you know, do it in a way that's fun and light. Like have days off. I never had days off. I was stupid, but have days off. Like, you know, have Sunday where you don't even look at your text, or unless you're rank advancing, you have to sort of look at it on Sunday. But you know what I mean? Just go for it and do it as a family, do it together. And it's just, I'm super excited to see everyone in March. We've got exciting things to share.
Yeah. Okay. Well, PK, ANZ celebration. So we'll finish on that note. So you'll be there. I think you're doing a keynote for ANZ celebration, yeah? Or is that for
I'm doing a keynote for NYK, but it's going to be live streamed.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it's going to be live streamed to Australia. So I'll post the details for that.
Awesome. All right, beautiful. We're going to love you, Levy. We've just gone on
love
60 minutes. So I want to respect your time. Thank you so much for sharing.
My pleasure.
If there's anything we can do to support you with your book launch or anything else that's coming up with the Desk Code, just please let us know, and we'll just keep this culture of giving going. And
just go for it. That's all I want you guys to just have it.
Go for it. Go for it. All right. We'll leave on that point.
Right.
Love you so much,
all.
PK.
Thanks, Rory, for your leadership. You're the best.
See you, mate.
Bye. Thank you so much. Thanks, Roz.
No worries, guys. Take yourself off mute if you need to.
Thanks, PK. Thanks, everyone. Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Fan coats. Look at the fan bam.
Too funny.
Thanks, Rory.
Yeah, they're all girl crushing.
Girl crushing. All right, guys. I'm gonna love you and leave you. I'm gonna go for
Thank
surf.
you very much. Thanks, Rory.
See you guys. Catch up.